welcome to the stage, Juuva, Master Distributor and Crown, Mr. Jeff Bracken. Awesome. Well, I get to talk to you about some exciting stuff today, but haven't we had a good day so far? Been absolutely awesome. I'm excited. Grant actually gave me permission, because we're coming down to the wire on the placement of the China legs, to give you guys some update on exactly how that's going to take place and what that means to everybody, or potentially could mean to everybody in the room. We excited about that? For those of you who aren't familiar with this, there's only been 7 U.S. companies out there that have actually got a license from the government to do direct sales or network marketing in China, which means you can pay more than 1 or 2 or 3 levels down through the tree. And out of those 7 companies, Grant and Frankie, our 2 co-founders, are responsible for 4, more than half of those companies. So when we looked at going back into China and opening China as Juuva, Grant and Frankie started talking about the people that they knew, the distributors that would be attracted to them because of their history. Most of the time, what happens is when a company goes to China, it's just the distributors. Whoever has the distributor base or wherever that goes will start putting their people in China, and China will build from there. But in most cases, and especially those that Grant and Frankie are familiar with, normally less than 20 distributors in the United States participate in any of the volume. I'm talking 20 distributors as a whole benefit from that volume. Now, if we look at those companies that Grant and Frankie took into China, more than 50% of the revenue of those companies globally come out of mainland China. And very few U.S. or other distributors around the globe participate in any of that volume. Now, a couple reasons for that. One is the type of comp plan they have, only paid down so many levels before it gets cut. And the other part is because most of the volume usually comes out of 10, 20, the distributors usually pick up the majority of the volume. So what Grant and Frankie said, how do we have the majority of our distributors? How do we give this benefit to more people than Jeff and Denise or Don and Nancy or Russ and Lisa? How do we turn around and take this advantage and spread it amongst the distributors? So I'm going to take you guys through this and show you exactly how this is going to go and give you the date, first of all, that this is going to happen. So starting here. Everyone in this room or everybody watching this seminar here can participate in this volume, and you'll find out exactly why. And the question is, will you be one of them? Because I'm a firm believer that what happens between now and February 4th, that's the end of a Juuva week now, whatever happens between this time will dictate where those legs will go, and I'm going to show you a little bit how that works. So there's 60 placement legs that we have out in China, or 60 individuals that Grant and Frankie felt would come to them looking for an opportunity to build with Grant and Frankie if they opened another U.S. opportunity in mainland China. We had a promotion that ended over a year ago where diamonds being paid as diamonds twice could earn one of these legs, and those are all earned out there. And so now what question is where the placement goes. Now remember, Juuva's compensation program pays infinity deep until you get capped out on a leg. So where these China legs get placed is imperative, because you, whether you're in the enrollment tree or not, can participate in that volume in the way the compensation program's built in what we call our multi-leg bonus. Does that make sense to everybody? So here's how this works. The computer's going to define. So whoever earned the leg can say, I want this on my leg 1 or I want this on my leg 2. After that, there's no other influence they have on that. What Grant and Frankie decided is whichever distributors helped that diamond become diamond, is going to participate in that volume, or whatever group of distributors help. So it's going to be the most, or the longest, most active leg, not by PV, but by active distributors. So once again, the goal was to give as many distributors this benefit as Grant and Frankie possibly could. So the way we'll look at that is a 70 PV. If a node or distributor position has 70 PV or greater, it will count. That 70 PV can come from an auto ship, that 70 PV can come from maintenance, or that 70 PV can come from enrollment. I'm going to show you how this all works. The other thing to note, if two people tie as far as the same number of people were active in that period of time, the tiebreaker will be by the most PV. Does that make sense? So those same active people, whatever leg ended up with a more PV will be only a tiebreaker. Once again, this isn't PV generated. This is generated by the most active distributors. So here's how this will look. This is actually a place in the tree that we've kind of defined. The tree's a lot bigger than this. Don't get that there. But there's a diamond that earned a leg, but there's also 4 diamonds upline from this individual that earned a leg that will actually have to be put in this leg. So this is how we would calculate. And you guys can see here, here's how the tree's put together. This has 12 distributors in it. If you follow this leg down, right down to here, or excuse me, this is the next one, this has 10 distributors in this. And if you follow this down, this has 14. And you come over here, you follow this down to 10, or you follow the outside down to 12. Does that make sense to everybody? Now, what we're going to do is count only those distributors that were active, meaning the distributors that did a minimum of 70 PV. So you can see the numbers have changed. Down this leg is 10, this leg went to 7, this leg over here went from over here to here, but 11. This that had 14 went to there, and this one over here came down here, went to 9. So remember, we're only counting the active distributors. Does that make sense to everybody? So if you have people in the line that didn't do a 70 PV purchase, they don't count as an active distributor, or would count in the way we figured this up. Does that make sense to everybody? I don't need to clarify anything from there. Well, let's see. The first leg that's going to be placed here is the diamond leg. They're going to actually pick, and in this scenario, they picked leg 1. And it might have been because they needed more ETP there than the other leg. Whatever the reason is, that's the leg they picked. Does that make sense to everybody? So what the company did is the computer went down and said, okay, where is the most active distributors in a single line or leg? And you can see this came down to 11 down there. And so this diamond placed the China node right there. So that volume between now and the history of the company will travel through each single node all the way up the tree. Does that make sense to everybody? For this diamond here, it's ETPV. They're the enroller. For everybody down here, it counts as PV, and it comes up the tree, and you get paid on it. So let's go here. Now we've got another upline diamond that needs to figure out where theirs goes here. And so you can see down here, the next biggest in here was 10. It was above the 9 and the 8 over here. Does that make sense? That's the biggest in that organization. So that diamond's placement leg goes over here, now down here. Let me show you something unique that happened here. This person who didn't earn a China leg themselves ended up with placement in 2 separate legs. So as that volume comes up the tree, even though this person didn't earn one, because this person did a pretty good job building 2 trees out there, or 2 separate legs, that person actually participates with 2 China legs. Let me go a little bit farther here. So that second diamond would place their leg down here, so we go from there. So the third, once again, you can see we came over here because 9 had the next most in that leg, and so it came over here. The next diamond leg comes down here at 8, and you can see that diamond number 3 in the upline's leg comes there. Once again, this person, let me go back if I can. This person here, I'm hitting the wrong button here. This person here ended up with 2 China legs and separate legs, even though they didn't earn one. Does that make sense? And then once again, you can see that the next diamond up line came to where the next was, which was 7. Now, this is what would have happened if it was launched today. It's not being launched today. So let me show you what could potentially happen here. What if this person turned around and said, I understand what's going to happen, and they went and put a few more people under there. Instead of going underneath this leg, guess what? That China enrollment went over there. Does that make sense? Let me show you one other analogy here. Let's say this person ended up catching the vision here and build a strong leg down here, and that leg went from, once again, here being leased all the way over to there. So people ask me all the time, Jeff, where's the best place in the tree to come in if I want to participate in this thing? It's very bottom, right? Because you can count all the auto ships above you in the tree. I think Dr. Bob was here when he said, where are you going to put me in the tree? And he said, at the bottom? Well, this is where you really want to go in the bottom now, from that standpoint. But as we started looking at this, and I've been talking to some new distributors that just signed up in Juuva, they said, Jeff, what is the magic number? And I don't know what that number is. I can give a guess, but it's just a guess. But I started telling people, if you're brand new, the goal would be to get 20 individuals on leg 1 and 20 individuals on leg 2 in an auto ship. That would be a great goal to do over the next couple months to put you in the running. Because really who you're running against is everybody in Juuva, but against the other new people that signed up, right? Because these legs can switch just by a little bit of activity coming through here. So the big question is don't wait, run now. So here's how this is going to work. From November 13th, I guess a week and a couple days, right? From November 13th to February 4th, we're going to start counting those auto ships. We're going to start count those nodes in a 4-week period. There's 3 of those during that time, but in that 4-week period, we're going to do that. Now, don't wait till November 13th to sign somebody up, because if you sign them up this week, guess what? They'll still count for all 4 weeks. Does that make sense? So you don't want to wait. You want to get them in now so you can have better time to run out there. But somebody said, well, Jeff, what if I run for this and I don't get it? You know what I mean? What if I go on a run here? So I want to first of all tell you what potentially is on board here. Every single company that Grant and Frankie launched in China has went over $1 billion in China alone. Now, some of the time it took them 20 years to get there. Some other times it took them a lot less than that. We don't know what that will look like. But if that does over that, it possibly looks like all those could be capped legs as far as volume. To cap a leg out to make $15,000 a week, you got to do just right around 125,000 PV a week. Does that make sense? So you take $1 billion, divide that by 60, and figure out what that could be. Now, I want to make sure I'm clear what this is not. The date the volume starts coming in, it will probably be fairly small because it'll be on a pre-launch, not even official big launch. So this isn't going to happen day one, but this is potentially the upside. If you just take the multi-leg bonus and you're one of those individuals who got 2 legs capped, that's 15,000 a week or 60,000 per Juuva months. There's 13 of those in a calendar year because they're every 4 weeks. That's $780,000. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. So let me tell you, what if I ran for this but I fell short? What's the upside? What if I took all my spare time over the next 3 months and just put out an all-out run on this? What's the downside if I don't end up with any of these placements? And I wanted to show you something. Craig actually helped me out and put these numbers together for me. But if you signed up 5 builder packs, 2 professional tiers, 3 advanced, and 10 basics, you're going to end up with $1,550 in fast start bonuses. It's not a bad little Christmas bonus for the next little while, is it? Let me also show you what happens. The PV off of that, you're going to turn around and and that's off the tiers. So this is once again in 2 legs, but you're going to end up with $583 additional dollars in earnings just off of the new volume over that same period. 853. What did I say? Oh, sorry. I'm still thinking of that big number I showed before. So, and then monthly income, if you turn around and run this, just those people, not anybody existing in your business, you're going to have another 308. But here's what happens. What if you turn around and run these numbers and your team catches fire because of this? And once again, you just doubled your volume. Over 3 months in that period of time, you can turn around and have an income of $7,500 a month. Now, what if that didn't happen in 3 months, but that happened in a year because the group of individuals you got started on this process turned around, did the same thing, and because you ran for this during this period of time, but maybe fell short, you're going to be in Cancun, Mexico at JVC. You'll probably take advantage of some of these enrollment bonuses over the next couple months. You'll end up putting your business on fire. So let me continue on here. The China leg placement date is February 5th, 2019. That coincides with Chinese New Year. So here in the United States and Canada and the Philippines and Taiwan and Vietnam now, will probably be the first time we'll have a lot of people celebrating Chinese New Year because there'll be something for us to celebrate, right? So we'll get you some things you want to buy. They get big red balls if you go to one of these Asian stores and things so you can decorate up. But we're going to actually start placing these. Now, there will be an audit process, so we make sure we get them right. So I don't know exactly what day we'll be announcing, but February 5th, they've got all hands on deck in the office to start this placement process, and it's actually going to be in the tree at that time. So here's some dates to remember. February 5th, by the 20th, all legs will be positioned and announced no later than the 20th of February. We'll hopefully announce those that day if we feel confident on the audit, but we just want to make sure we get that right. November 13th through February 4th is your chance to participate. Once again, it's pretty simple. It is every single distributor node that does 70 PV or greater. That happens through doing an auto ship. Somebody can just buy product and it counts as maintenance, or somebody can enroll somebody new during that period of time, and that volume coming in over 70 PV would activate that person in the position and the way we would count these. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so we're going to do this based on a 3-month average. Somebody said, well, Jeff, somebody out there is just going to spend a lot of money buying a whole bunch of spots to do that. So we made it a little harder for that to happen. So what we're going to do over that period of time is we're going to take the 3 months total, divide that by 3 so we get a 4-week moving average, or what you averaged over those 3 months. Does that make sense to everybody? So it'll be an average of what you did. So you might get off to a slow start, but you might finish strong. And those people that did one auto ship will give you a third of the value of somebody that did it over the 3 months. Does that make sense? Active distributors went over that enrollment, MPV or auto ship. And once again, it's a 12-week total divided by 3 gives you a 4-week rolling average. Now, let me summarize this for you. There's now a date. This is the first time we've actually given a day to receive these legs, so it is official. That is the date it will actually happen, and they'll be placed there, and that will be February 5th. So February 4th is the cutoff for those active distributors there. We are planning a soft launch, and we don't have an exact day for that, but we'll have a soft launch in or around China in May of 2019. Those individuals that actually achieved one of those China legs will have an invite to that as soon as that date's there. They'll actually get an invite, and those individuals can go over and meet the individuals that they'll be working with, or they'll see the individuals that they got volume there, and we'll do that. That will also be the date that those nodes will actually start receiving volume. So that soft launch date is the first date that those individuals will be able to buy Juuva products and the volume will start running up through those nodes. So whether you've earned one yourself or you've earned one by helping build that diamond above you, a big group, you're going to see that volume at that period of time. Does everybody understand that? So here's some advice from Jeff. Go to work now. Go to work now. Enroll as many people as fast and as hard as you can as a team, not as an individual, but as a team. Now is the time to actually get out there and have your people understand that's there. Duplicate yourself. This doesn't happen by somebody going out and enrolling a whole bunch of people. It happens by a team getting energized and saying, how can we do this as a team? It's a great time to activate inactive distributors. Somebody who's been in the tree for a long time, maybe hasn't tried some of our greatest products out there. This would be a great time to make a phone call. I wouldn't spend a whole lot of time with those people, but it's definitely worth a phone call or two to say, now would be a great time. The next 3 months would be a great time to get the new pitcher, try the new Nutra HG. Let's divide this up over the next 3 months, and it'll be a great time for you to reinvest in some of these products, because if this goes underneath us as a team in this node, your position becomes a heck of a lot more valuable than if it didn't have that. Does that make sense? So it'd be a great time to activate those individuals. Okay, this was for John. Quit dance class. This is not a good time to work on ballroom dance, guys. Dance classes will start again in March, right? So get rid of those classes. Guitar lessons, you know what? Somebody will be teaching guitar sometime down the road. Let's put that off. Bowling league, it's time to throw the shoes in the closet. Stop going to movies. They're better at the dollar show anyway. Lose the remote. Now's the time to really dedicate yourself. Now's the time to say, what is it I'm going to do over the next couple months that I haven't dedicated myself for? This is probably the first and the last time a promotion like this will ever happen in the history industry. You just don't have owners that have contacts that are coming to them wanting to be part of their business. These are legs where you don't have to learn Mandarin. You don't have to fly to China. You don't have to do the coaching and teaching. This is truly gifted volume. So you'll actually take advantage of this without having to do all that work. The work that's done is the work that's here in your backyard. The work here is doing what you should do for a great check for Juuva anyway. The benefit is potentially having one of these gifted volume pieces that could potentially turn your business from wherever you take it to the next level. It's never happened before. Matter of fact, as I talk to people in the industry, they're just dumbfounded that owners have figured this out. And Grant and Frankie figured this out because guess what? They wanted to give the maximum amount of distributors. Think of this, less than 20 distributors in those companies prior participate in any of the volume at all in that country, and over 50% of the revenue. Right now, we believe that over 50% of our Juuva distributors currently today will participate in this promotion. 50%. But it's what you guys do from today forward. It really is. As we started looking through some of these and dissecting some of our smaller trees in the company where people had earned this, I started thinking to myself, I said, wow, some people that don't have really, really big businesses are going to take advantage of this by taking the next couple months and turning it into a good-sized business. You don't have to have the longest leg in the company. You just have to have a longer leg than the new people that are excited about getting in and be able to build your business. But now is the time to take advantage of this. Now is the time to be able to build this. So each of you have a piece of paper in front of you. I know the hotel supplied that. Make your commitment right now. What is it you're willing to do? What is it you're willing to give up? How many plans are you willing to show over the next couple months to be able to take advantage of this? This is one of the most exciting things. This last week, as I had the opportunity to meet with some brand new distributors in Juuva and do some plans, it just really hit me of what we have before this. This is gravy, guys. This is fantastic. It's never happened before. But what we have is a company out there that has values that decisions are made. The decision to do this promo this way is based on our values that we won't do for one what we won't do for all. This is a promotion where we said, how can we benefit most people? Once again, but it's a company built on values that are processed in decision making. If you haven't been to the conference room at Juuva, if you go there, you'll look up and in a poster size, you see the values that define us on the board there. And you know what? Grant often points to those in the decision-making processes, and he says, where are we on this? Is this decision affecting anybody negatively or affecting one distributor more than another? Every single thing. We've got products, and Dr. Bob, thanks for coming up here. We got products that absolutely change lives. I was in a meeting, and they said, well, what's your product lineup? And I said, well, let me take you through it. And they said, well, no, just take me through your best one. And I said, well, I got to get through 6 or 7 to get you that one, because there's about 6 or 7 that fit in that category. I mean, they're just phenomenal products that are going to change the way people experience health. But the money side of this blows me away. I think we're now over 28 companies where somebody sent in the 30% challenge, where somebody said, here is my back office, here is my check, put my structure in the Juuva compensation program and calculate what that check would be if I was working in Juuva. We call it the 30% challenge because out of those 20, and it's more than 28 people, it's just 28 different companies now. But as of yet, we haven't found anybody that we haven't paid a minimum of 30% more to. Think about that. 30% more for the exact same sales, the exact same structure, no matter how they structured their business. Matter of fact, our average is closer to 35% now on that challenge. But we're paying out that much more. The other side of this equation is I was in Utah County and I had 4 people in the team that don't live in Utah County asked me to do meetings with people that lived in Utah County. Not one person out of those 4 different parties that came in this last week had ever heard of Juuva. Our corporate office is in Utah County. They're like, you're 5 years old. How has nobody heard of the most exciting story that we've ever heard in the history of this industry? He says, how is it that none of us have heard? Timing is on your side, guys. This is the most secretive story. The best story in the industry is still the biggest secret out there. You need to take advantage of it. Now's the time to run, guys. Every day, Denise and I just feel so grateful for each and every one of you in our lives, but for this unbelievable opportunity that we see transforming the lives of people on a daily basis. We love you guys. We pray for you daily. Thanks.